Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and this is going to be a topic video, and this is one video I've wanted to do for a while. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I started to collect movies, or how I started to get a lot of films and start to build my collection throughout the years. Now, I think that everybody has an interesting story on how they started to collect films, and I thought that you guys would be interested in hearing how I started. Now, when I first started to get a lot of movies, I thought that I was the only person. Like, I didn't know that people collected films until much later on in my life. So when I was younger, I used to think that I was the only person that did it. But yeah, I think I'd have to go back to when I was about 3 or 4 years old. I think that was the first time I watched my first film. And, ever since I saw my first movie, which I really don't remember what my first film was, but I know that the first movie that I watched, it was the beginning of my fascination and my, my fascination and just my connection to film throughout my life. Films have always been there for me, both on an emotional level as well as, just for entertainment, and movies have become part of my life. Now I do want to do another video where I actually want to talk about that, where I want to talk about how films have affected people and have become part of their lives. But I'm not going to do that in this video. This is mostly just going to be me talking about how I got my first films, when I was very, very young, and then up till, I started to actually collect. Now, when I was younger, the first, like I said, I don't remember the first movie I ever saw, but I do remember a couple of the first films that I've ever seen, and that was Twister and Home Alone. Those were the two movies that I remember watching when I was very, very young. I saw Twister because when I was younger, I had a huge fascination with tornadoes and volcanoes, and I just wanted to see every single video, every movie about tornadoes and volcanoes, and one of the first ones that I saw was Twister, and ever since then I've absolutely loved that movie. It's still one of my favorite films, and when I was a kid, I would literally just watch the same movie every day. If it was a movie that I loved, I would watch it every day. I would just sit there and I would watch it over and over again, and I think that was sort of in one way it was good for me because I, really connected with films at a very young age. But at another point, I can kind of see it of how, I didn't really get out as much as I think I should as a kid. Now, of course, I got outside and I played around a lot, but it would usually, I didn't spend as much time outside as I did inside watching movies, but, so as I, started to get older, I would keep getting more and more films. My mom would take me out every weekend, and we would go to like different stores. Like we went to Walmart back when they used to have VHSs. We went to Kmart back when they had a good selection of movies, and we also went out to our local mall, which they had a movie store out there, but I cannot remember what it was. And every weekend I wanted to go out and get a new movie, and I would just bug mom throughout the week, and she would always take me because we could, and it was something that I enjoyed. And as I've gotten, the year sort of went on, I kept getting more and more films. And, I remember back when I was very young, I had a room downstairs in my house with a small little red bed. And then in front of me there was a TV, and there was only two small shelves. And they were filled up with movies, and they were like I said, I was really big into tornadoes and volcanoes. So I do, I had a section of those. I still have all of them. But I also loved classic Disney, like The Lion King, 101 Dalmatians. I had, a good amount of the classics on VHS. And then I had some movies that maybe I shouldn't have been watching during that time. Like, I remember when I was 6 years old was the first time I saw a horror movie, which was Child's Play. And, when I first watched it, it didn't scare me, but I think that it affected me in some way because when I got older, I remembered my mother telling me that when I was in school, I would, walk around. I'd be walking around and I would look behind me as if maybe there was someone coming up behind me, like maybe Chucky was behind me. So it did make me paranoid, and she ended up taking the movie away. But I knew where she kept it and put it. I didn't get out. I didn't watch it anytime because I was worried because when I was younger I didn't do anything like I didn't disobey my parents hardly at all as a kid, but but I knew where it was, and it actually I ended up getting it back. I forget how long she had it, hid away. It was probably a few months, and then she finally just let me have it back because even though the movie didn't scare me, it still made me kind of paranoid. But of course, as I got older, I started watching more horror films, and then I got used to it, and that the paranoia passed. But ever since I was younger, I always felt like a bit of an outsider. When I was in school, like I said, I was one of the only kids that I knew of, or I was the only kid that I knew of that watched movies like I did. Like I knew that some kids, that they would watch movies, but I kind of felt like I was the only person that watched them as much as I did. And when I was a kid, of course I would play around with some of the kids, but for the most part, I sort of kept to myself a bit. Like when we went outside on recess, in kindergarten or whatever, I would, swing on a swing alone, or I would sort of be by myself because I had things going on in my head. And this is one thing that I think movies really helped me is that films really helped me have a great imagination. Because I remember when I was a kid, I would get these ideas for stories and I would write them down. And throughout kindergarten and elementary school, I would write stories all the time. And for the most part, the teachers were okay with it. There were some horror stories that I wrote that were like, a giant shark eating people and stuff like that. Like, I remember when I watched Jaws, I had a fascination with sharks at that point, and so I watched, I did, stories about sharks eating people, and, but that was later on in my life. But when I was, younger, my teachers sort of got a bit worried about me. Because I was drawing pictures of people being killed by zombies and stuff. And so I think the counselor talked to me, and after she talked to me, she was fine with it. She told my parents that I was very intelligent and that they shouldn't be worried about me. And I'm sure that if you're a teacher and you see your student drawing pictures of people being killed, I'm pretty sure that they'd get kind of worried, But after they talked to me and they realized, that I knew the difference between real life and imagination, and so they accepted it, and I was never bothered by that again. And I think that I really thank films for giving me that imagination, because like I said, when I was a kid, I mean, I had friends, I had people that I would hang out with in my neighborhood. But for the most part, I would be up in my room watching movies, a lot. And, I found a friend in film. I know that might sound kind of weird, but at the same time, I feel like you guys would understand what I mean by that. Like, I found a friend that I never really had outside, and I related to the characters in my favorite films more than I did the people outside or kids at school, And, every time I got home from school, I would just go up in my room and just watch movies, and usually I'd wait till about 6 or 7 o'clock, and then I would do schoolwork or whatever, homework, but for the most part, I would spend a lot of time just watching movies. And this went on throughout, elementary school, and it was in middle school, and I still at that point did not know that other people collected films. And I think that thinking that, it made me feel more alienated, because I felt like I collected stuff, or I, enjoyed something that a lot of people didn't. I knew people enjoyed watching movies, but I didn't think that they enjoyed it as much as I did. I did know that people collected things. Like, I knew that people, like my dad, collected model cars, and I knew that people collected, like, baseball cards and things like that. But for some reason, I never thought of movies as being something that that a lot of people collected. And so for that point, I felt weird, but at the same time, I liked that I was into something that other people didn't, that other people weren't. I did feel a bit alienated, and I did feel like, I was watching too many movies. Even my parents started to get a little bit worried. And my mom, she even said that I watched too many movies and I watched too much TV and I need to go outside and I need to go out and actually like experience life and have friends and stuff. Of course, as I got older, they became more accepting, and now my mother's fine with my movie collecting because she knows that it's something that I really enjoy and something I have a passion for, like I do on YouTube as well. But I didn't realize that people collected movies. I didn't discover the internet until maybe 6th grade, so for the most part in my early childhood, it was mostly either outside or inside watching movies. But when I first discovered the internet, I remember having a MySpace page for a short time, and then everyone went to Facebook, and I was behind everyone else. Like by the time, because I was behind on technology for a lot, like by the time I got on MySpace, everyone else, all my other friends had already started Facebook, and so I started Facebook, but I didn't discover YouTube until I want to say middle school, and I want to say about 7th grade maybe. I think that was when I first sort of discovered that people collected films, and when I first started, when I first started watching YouTube, I saw some people post videos about their rare DVDs and VHS tapes, and I used to think, oh, okay, so I guess on YouTube, if you have something rare, then people want to see that, and so people will post videos about that. I had no idea that there were people that just posted videos about just their collection, regardless of what, how rare a movie was, or just showing off movies, and I had no idea that people did movie collection videos. And then when I did figure that out, it opened me up into a whole new world. And now I'm a part of this really amazing community of a ton of people, like thousands and thousands of people that just love to collect films and share their love for cinema with each other. And I'm always grateful for that, and I feel like I'm part of something that I never felt like I was when I was younger. And it makes me feel really good to be a part of something that's great, both the movie collecting community and YouTube. But yeah, guys, that was just my story on how I got into collecting movies, like I said, I was very, very young, and movies were always there for me whenever someone else wasn't, and ever since I was younger, I would get movies, like I said, every weekend, my mom and I would go out, and we would get movies. So every weekend I'd have a new movie. And as I got older, I sort of started to feel alienated from other people, and I felt like I was the only person that did it, and I felt like an outsider in school. And then as I got older, I found out that there are so many other people that do it, and I feel very connected with those people, and I'm very glad that I found this community, this YouTube community. What are you doing, Tom? Hang on, my cat Thomas is trying to. Let me scratch on him a little bit. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to do this video to tell you guys a bit about how I started to collect movies, and how it's become a part of my life now. And like I said, I do want to do a video where I talk about how films affect people's lives and how films are, passion. Like the same thing with people who collect and read books or records. Movies are a major part in a lot of people's lives. And I want to do a video where I talk about that. And that'll probably be, I'll either do it this week or next week. But I just wanted to do this quick video just to tell you guys a bit about how I started to get into films. And I would love to know how you guys got started. How did you get into collecting movies? Do you have an interesting story? Feel free to share it with me down below. Anyway, guys, thanks everyone for watching. As I said in my last few videos, if you guys want to follow me on Facebook, I do have a Facebook page which I will leave down below. Check it out if you'd like. I'll be posting all my videos on there, as well as photos of my collection, and just anything movie related will be on that page. Anyway, guys, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks to everyone for subscribing. I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a great day.